Alright, we have 78% battery. We can film a 3-minute video.
Hello everyone!
Hi!
Long time no see.
Yeah, we've been super MIA recently, and I'm so sorry about that, but that is due to the fact that we have returned
Welcome back to the U.S.
to Minnesota. We are back in Minnesota. I have no way to prove that to you except that we just got Raising Cane's.
Angry Orchard.
Yeah, there we go. No plug or sponsorship. But we're back here in Minnesota. And I am going to answer, or we're going to answer, some of your top questions that we've been getting since we've come back from the people who knew that we returned. So I'm going to get your questions, which of course you would think I would have been prepared. Alright, so why did we decide to return? That is the main question that we've been getting since we've come back.
Well, on my part, it was pretty easy. I ran out of money.
We kind of figured in advance that that was going to happen, and then we kind of created an end date from there and bought our tickets back and then flew home knowing that you were going to be very low on funds by that point. So that happened.
Broke. Flat broke.
I also found that maybe an indefinite lifestyle meant about 6 months for me. That was pretty good. A pretty good amount of time for me, and I was missing home, and I felt like that was a good end date for me too. So that 6-month mark worked out for both of us, and now we're back. But yeah, that's why we decided to return. The second question we've been getting a ton is, what was your favorite moment and what was your least favorite moment?
Alright, well, I'm gonna answer those myself in reverse order. My least favorite moment is definitely tied between two. On our way back, like, we're finally coming back home, and we fly into Boston to make our connecting flight, and ended up getting a 24-hour layover because they canceled our flight on us. And it was, I mean, it was just, you're right there, you know, we're finally back in the States, and we're just one little hop away from Minnesota, and we had a 24-hour delay, and they wouldn't help us out at all. We ended up sleeping on cots. They gave us cots.
Yes, we did get cots at the airport, which was both nice of them, but then the whole situation was their fault. But like, I'm glad we didn't need to sleep in a chair at the airport.
Yeah.
At that point, it was like a luxury that we weren't expecting.
Though, to be fair, I have slept in airport chairs. I didn't sleep in that cot. So yeah, that's one of my two worst. The next would be, and again, these are kind of tied. One was like just the wrong time, the wrong place for things to happen. But other than that, the worst was in Portugal. We ended up, after we had been in the camp for a couple weeks, we were allowed to move into one of like the special tents.
The glamping tent that people could like actually rent from the campsite.
And it had bed bugs.
Yes. And
we didn't figure it out until after all of our stuff had been in there for a while, and so we couldn't just move to a different tent because we, you know, they might...
We were contaminated, and our stuff was contaminated potentially, so we didn't want to move and contaminate other spaces, so we had to like stay in the contaminated tent for a while before we figured out how to deal with that situation.
And that was just a really, really bad week for me.
Yeah, it was no fun for us being in that situation at all. We ended up needing to go to the laundromat and wash everything that we owned, and
extremely high temperatures, and move things from one tent to another very carefully, only after it had been decontaminated. And, and despite the fact that we had been there for 2 weeks at this point, and it only happened when we moved into the other tent, the other people at the camp still like blamed us for the presence of bed bugs. Like, we didn't bring them into the camp, we just moved into a tent and
discovered them. Yeah. It was a not fun situation for us dealing with the bed bugs, and then we felt that the camp didn't handle it very well, and like you said, it was very much, there was like a kind of blame that was being placed on us, even though we had alerted them to this giant problem.
Yeah. So before I answer my highlight, why don't you give us your worst moment?
My worst moment. Oh, there's a woodpecker. So my least favorite part of our trip, that Boston one was kind of unfortunate, but I think it was worse when we got yelled at the camp in Portugal as well.
Oh yeah, big.
Yeah.
big angry German just screaming in our faces.
We had somebody yell at us, and it was literally the breaking point for us being at that camp. We got completely just, what would you call that? Like railed in on? I don't know. It was like some
Basically,
miscommunication happened.
yeah, the big guy was in charge while our actual host was away, and apparently a lot of like little things had been upsetting him, and he'd been like bottling it and bottling it and bottling
Or
it.
they had been discussing it without us or something. It was hard, it's hard to say because a lot of them spoke a different language than us when we were there, and either they expected us to like know what they were thinking or know what they were saying even though they were speaking in another language. I think getting yelled at the camp in Portugal is probably my least favorite part. And the things you said obviously were some of the lowest points for us as well. So I have to agree. I have to agree with you. But I think, yeah, that's it for me.
Well,
So what about your favorite moment?
my favorite moment. That's actually really hard because I had so many everywhere we went. Like, I feel like if I had to list a favorite moment for every country, that would be easier. But if I can only pick like one favorite moment, it was in a pub in Ireland, and it was like exactly what you would imagine like an Irish pub being like. Just randomly, like one person would just stand up and start singing some incredibly amazing Irish song, and everybody else would just shut up or join in. Like, it was just this amazing like camaraderie feeling, and like super like authentic. Like I said, it's like what you imagine when you're like, oh, Irish pub. It was really cool to see that that wasn't just like something they did in movies and TV shows, or you know, you imagine like that's what they do over there. Like that was really cool to me. And Irish cider is amazing. So yeah,
We
I mean,
did get to try some really nice cider in Ireland. I really did enjoy the pubs in Ireland as well, but I think that my favorite moment on our journey was in Iceland. There was a night that you came and got me, and it was really late at night. I think it was like 2 in the morning, yeah. I don't know why we had stayed up so late, but you wanted me to come outside, and I didn't want to go outside because it was 2 in the morning, and then also you were kind of annoying me earlier, and so I didn't, you were just like, come with me outside, and I was like, no, I don't want to. I was already in bed, I was already comfortable and warm. There's not much that can get me away from that condition, from that state of
that
being.
is the truth.
You finally did tell me that it was because you saw some northern lights, which was enough to get me to go outside, and truly was the northern lights, and it was one of the most spectacular things I think I've ever seen. It started out kind of smaller, but as we watched, it like grew until it filled like the whole portion of the sky that we were looking at. I don't remember if it was like everywhere, but it was definitely pretty vibrant in like a strand around where we were, which was so cool. And I've never seen the northern lights before, and they were green, which apparently was like super rare for that time of the year.
Well,
Usually they were white.
It was rare
then.
for us to see it at all at that time of the year.
Yes,
is what we
that's
found
true.
out
Like
about
a week later. Yeah, they were like, yeah, you probably wouldn't see it, and if you did, it would be like kind of white, which this was like green and vibrant and like something you wouldn't expect to see until much later into the fall or the winter, which we were still in September at that point.
Yep.
Yeah, so it was still early in the year, but we got to see it, and it was awesome, and definitely I think my highlight of our trip there. So yeah, those are our favorite and least favorite moments, or at least some of our highlights and some of our lowlights. I guess you could put it that way. And the last question was, oh yeah, what are we up to now? What are we doing right now?
Well, for those of you who read my blog, you might have noticed that I have not updated it in quite a while.
You have had nothing to read.
For the time being, I've set that aside. I will go back and catch you all up to story, and I mean, I've got thousands of pictures and stories to tell, and I'll get that eventually, but right now I'm more focused on a book that I'm writing, and while I'm doing that, because that's not paying me any money, I picked up a job as a entry-level carpenter. Yeah, I mean that's what I'm up to now. I'm writing a book and I'm working as a carpenter and just well, getting back on top of my finances since I came back flat broke.
Yeah. And I also got another job myself. I am working at a co-op grocery store, which I love, and it's super awesome. I love working with the people that I'm working with. They're all super nice, and I love working with all the fresh produce and all the fresh flowers and stuff. Right now we're selling plants, which is also fun for me, but just being in a place that I feel like has the same kind of values as me, of like having stuff that is sustainable or local and organic and just good food, I think is really awesome for me. So I'm really loving that right now. Yeah, and that's pretty much all I'm up to. I'm helping my mom with some stuff, living with her and getting her home sorted, and helping out my sister by giving her rides until she gets her license, which I'm sure she'll be doing at some point when she gets
Good luck.
her stuff together for that. But yeah, it's been really awesome. So in total, I think we each ended up spending, I think, under $3,000 each
In a period of
6 months. It would be just under $500 a month, which is not bad considering the fact that we were eating and we were sleeping and we were doing activities sometimes.
and hella souvenirs. I brought home a whole bunch of amazing pipe tobacco from Italy.
Oh.
I spent way too much money on that, but it's so worth it. And I Harry Pottered myself to death.
Oh yeah, you guys haven't seen that yet, but I definitely will come out with my England vlogs. It was just taking so long since I've been back. It was hard for me to catch up on my videos and just create time for that because I just got like swarmed with things and activities and projects to do once I got back. But I wanted to get this one out for you guys first so I could stop living incognito and start posting on social media again that I was back here. So I'm going to come out with this one first, and then I'm going to do my England videos. I only have 3 more videos to do until I'm completely caught up with you guys on what we did, but I will show you the Harry Potter ventures that we had that he is referring to right now. He definitely did Potter himself up there. You definitely fell in love with something, which I thought was an awesome purchase. Totally worth it. Well, anyway, I wanted to take a last second at the end to thank my patrons who helped us throughout my journey. That was so wonderful of you guys, and thank you so much for all that support and all the support that was non-monetary, all the verbal support and all the love through likes and shares on my stuff through Facebook and otherwise. Thank you so much for that. We had an awesome time, and it was all because you guys like helped us, that we were able to keep going and share everything with you and get some of the stuff we did, eat some of the meals that we did. It was because of you guys. So thank you so much. And so for some wacko reason, my camera decided to not film literally the last 3 seconds of our video. So I just wanted to jump in and say thank you so much for watching, and safe travels, everybody.